There, isn't there? There's a scalp trade right there initially. There's a buy in oil right there. It's pretty obvious. And it's always better if that's going up, of course, but sometimes it's just value divergence for a scalp, and that's all we're looking for. There's no trade here, 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 no trade here. Possible trade starting to form just there, but it's not great because of what we can see on the inflation break-evens, but a possible trade, but not ideal. Certainly not something that would get me excited about launching a big attack into it, that's for sure. This looks a lot better because we can see the blue line's going up, purple's flat. Now we're getting inflation break-evens in line. So this trade looks a lot better here. So a sell on oil would have made sense there. The only downside for me is I know that we're not getting liquidity on that sell trade. So that's a little bit disappointing, but that's definitely a short oil trade that I would be looking to scalp into that one. And remember, when we're in a 1 minute chart, looking to scalp that trade could last anything between 1 minute and 5 minutes. So we know we're going to be in that trade for between 1 and 5 minutes. And obviously the trade runs really nicely by the looks of it behind that trade narrative, and that's the last trade we've seen. So what happened to that trade? So there's the scalp trade right there. You can see the trade lasted for 2 minutes after the scalp entry. So the trade would have been a sell trade there, 87.96. It traded a low print of 87.74, 22 ticks of profit, $220 in 2 minutes. Nothing wrong with that at all, guys. Is there nothing wrong with that at all? Any trades right now? Well, you can tell me, is there any trades right now in this? No. Not a chance. Not a chance. You might argue with that. Some might say, but we got liquidity, level 2 liquidity, and we do have a small divergence creeping in here, but it's certainly not a big enough divergence as far as I'm concerned to scalp that on a sell trade on oil. That's not good enough, guys. That is not good enough. If I was doing anything, if you told me I had to take a trade, the trade would have been a short oil trade for very obvious reasons. The blue line, the green line are driving flat, the red line's dropping, so it's going to be a sell trade on oil. It's not ever going to be a buy trade, that's for sure. So if I've got to take a trade there, it would have to be a sell trade on oil on the uptick on that trade right there. Sell trade on oil on the uptick would have put me into a short trade at the close of that candle, and you can see that we've went from 96 to a low price there of 83s. It's still worth 13 ticks. Still worth 13 ticks. Any other trades? Nope. Inflation break-evens from the London session, but obviously when we get into the US session proper, we can obviously add in the inflation break-evens from the US session as well, just to make sure we're getting a good solid confirmation, Steve. So just the inflation break-evens, just to give us something that's not connected to the oil market, something that's unrelated specifically to the oil price itself. And obviously we can add in the likes of the dollar as well if we want to add in some sort of narrative. We add in the dollar here in black, and now all we've got to try and do is find a red line that diverges from all of the other lines. But obviously doing that is going to be a bigger challenge because you need a lot more to line up before you take the deal. So what would you be doing right now? You'd be looking again at this as a possible top line oil short again, wouldn't you? You'd be looking at that and saying, damn it, there's a top line oil short. You'd be able to go into your charts and say, right, what's the book doing? You'd be able to start adding the book narrative to this picture, and you'd be saying the book is incredibly bullish. I don't really want to be selling that top line oil short anytime soon, and obviously that's up to you to make that decision. You can start watching for the book to change around. You can start watching for a lean to come in. You can start to watch for some volumes coming in. But it certainly looks as if that's the only trade you can be taking just now, is to sell the uptick on oil just now into that phase. And obviously that's what you're trying to do. And you're waiting for the book to give you that confirmation, and then you can take action against that storyline. I have sold some oil on the uptick into that storyline. I've got a stop in at break even as a scalper, and I am in relatively good shape. I've just made $100 per contract nearly on that trade. So you can see it was quite easy to do it. See how easy it is to make money on oil? you all see how easy it is to make money, guys? So we already pointed to that red line. Remember, the red line hadn't finished, so what's happened is the red line's vanished off the screen. But there's the trade anyway. You heard me talking about it. And you saw what I've just done. It's exactly what the trade would have been if you were trading at that stage. You can see that we drove up into the top edge. I was very aware of the buyers on the book here. Very, very aware of how many bids were coming in behind that trade. So I wasn't willing to sell it unless I got that top line price. So when the price came up into that top line, I was ready to do business, but the buyers were still visible on the book. As soon as it hit the top line price, I started to watch for a sell coming in. I saw a sell coming in, and I sold it instantly. And when I sold it instantly, I still managed to slip a few ticks on the way down. Still managed to slip a few ticks on the way down, but I was still able to make a 95 short all the way down to 87s. Now that doesn't sound like much, guys, but on a 3 lot, that's 230 bucks I just made whilst talking about it in the room. 230 bucks on a 3 lot, a miserable 3 lot. Still making 230 bucks in 60 seconds, talking about it, doing it, drawing charts and being able to present a little storyline around it. And I'm still able to make money on it. And you can see how easy it is to spot it. We called it live in the room, we saw it, we traded it. And obviously it was on this candle here, it was on the top of that red candle as the green candle closed. It was at the very high of that price, and we sold it as it just came off there for that very, very nice sell away. Well, we went 97s, guys, to 82s. 97 to 82s. $150 per contract on 3 contracts. It's a $450 profit in 2 minutes, 3 minutes. If you don't think that's worthwhile learning about, I'm struggling to find anything that's worthwhile learning about, because that's a great trade. If you can find that trade once a day, you will make $1 million in the next 12 months by compounding those types of gains. It's as simple as that, guys. You just need to find that one trade. You just need to find that one trade every day of the week and then trade it. Simple and easy to spot. You might be saying, it's not easy to spot. Well, I spotted it using exactly the same chart as you're using in real time whilst talking about it. And at the same time was able to then go onto my charts, take the trade, press the buttons, manage out the trade and make some money. So yes, it is easy to spot. You've just got to be looking at the right times. I can tell there's no trade in here for me just now. The red line's in the middle of the mush. The red line's dropping, it's dropping it, but the black line's dropping here. So the best trade would be a red line upside move here at the moment, and that would be a buy trade on oil, obviously. And that's what seems to be setting up just now. There it goes, there it goes, there it goes. That buy trade is starting to set up, but it's not a trade. Purple line's doing exactly the same as the red line, so it's not a trade just yet. Book is bearish. I'm watching the book going bearish. The blue line's turning up a little bit. It's going to be a buy trade sometime soon for a scalp. And we're getting ready to execute. And I'd executed. I got a single contract fill. Single bloody contract. Bloody miseries. And what happened on the trade? It's still in just now, but what happened on the trade? Here it is here. So there was selling coming in the book. There was selling coming in the book. There was selling coming in the book just here. So I waited. Price traded the bottom edge. There was some buying coming in the book here. I took the buy trade here, and I was able to get a quick stop at break even. Not going to cost me any money, right? Not going to cost me any money. So yet again, in live time, using exactly the same charts as you're using exactly the same order flow as you're using exactly the same platforms, I was able to get another $30 trade in on a single contract and get a stop at break even. So I could easily get $10 out of that trade, get ready for the next opportunity. So what did we just do? We just bought this move. Was this move higher here? I think it was, yeah. We just bought that move higher there. And we were able to take advantage of the value divergence that was visible at the time, not at the end of this candle, but during that candle. and we were able to take advantage of that visible divergence, take the trade on the books, and go for the scalp. Made some monies, scratched out at break even +1, and that was it. Ready for the next trade, guys. $10 out of that scalp trade. At the moment, still a sell in this red line, so it'd be a buy on oil. Still a buy on oil. Oil's just spiked higher, guys. Just spiked higher. Look at that. See what happens? Coming into the oil inventories, the value is there for the long trade, gets a spike on oil, and all of a sudden that small winning trade just makes a very, very nice gainer to the upside off of that scalp trade. So when you start to recognize some of these value signals, it's all about these adjustments, isn't it? Everything is about these adjustments. Everything we do is about these adjustments. Everything we see is about value. So we've just called those bottom edge oils. I said, if there's only one trade you're going to do right now, it's a buy on oil. What happened? Oil went from $87.80. It's now traded $88.20. $400 profit. Okay, $400 profit. It's pretty good, right? It's the only trade you could do. It was the only trade you could do, was buy oil. Would I recommend it? Probably not. How did that sell on the S&P do, by the way, Laurie? Having seen the short S&P early to the party trade. How did that work out? Pretty good. So the early to the party sell at 45.64s just traded a low price of 45.44s. It was only worth 20 points. Yep, 20 points, guys. 20 points is not too shabby. It's not too shabby, is it? Not too shabby. 20 points on the S&P is worth how much money? Anyone? How much money is 20 points worth on the S&P, if anybody wants to remind anybody that doesn't know? $1,000. It's a $1,000 live room call. Was that live room call? No, Laurie, was that a live room call? When we said it's very early to the party, it was pretty close to live. It only just started to work into this. It was a pretty close to live room call. There you go, guys. There's another live room call for a $1,000 winner. Sensational. Early to the party deserves to be respected and handled with extreme caution.